Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett. So, with another college football week, NFL week gone, I'll go ahead and go for my um, basically one phrase and slash short summary for my NFL games as I do every single week. So, let's get started. So, for the Thursday night football game between Denver and Cleveland, Case did his job. Um, the third string running back had a lot to do with the win, but Case Keenum, just one of the better backup QBs in the league, just managed the game and did well enough to win the game for the Browns in what felt like a must-win type of game, especially being a hard division. If I'm Cleveland with all the injuries and the fact Baker won't be right the rest of the season, I would just roll with Keenum the rest of the way, but we gotta let the chips fall where they may. Washington versus Green Bay. Guilty of looking ahead? Question mark. So with the big game on Thursday Night Football this week versus Arizona, the Packers felt like they control. Even though the Packers felt like they controlled the game, Rodgers played well. Had 3 touchdowns. For some reason, it still felt like this was kind of like the Packers could have done better, should have won a lot by more. That I felt like the only reason why Washington hung around is because the Packers were kind of looking ahead and didn't put their foot on the gas pedal basically. But the Packers got the win. Now they have to face Arizona with Devontae Adams on the COVID-19 list and their DC out. It's like good luck winning that game against Arizona this Thursday. Kansas City versus Tennessee. Maho, what? I predicted the Titans to get the upset here, so I didn't think it would be a. So I didn't think it was a shame that Kansas City lost Tennessee, but the problem is they lost by a lot. It was a blowout, and they only scored 3 points. First game with that, Mahomes didn't have a touchdown. Um, but um, now Mahomes lead is tied with the most interceptions in the league, so that's never a good thing. It's sad to see him not play well since he's such a talented QB. Again, I'm not going to give up on Andy Reid and Mahomes just um, as far as making the playoffs go, but now it's just going to be a struggle because it looks like they're not going to win a division, that's for sure, which is surprising itself. But they're going to struggle just to get in, which I feel like they still can. They just got to get together. There's still time. Atlanta versus Miami. Matty Ice delivers. As you expect veterans to do when they're in the 2 minute drill and you need to get the winning score, Matt Ryan delivers. It helps to have a very good kicker, but still he did his job. Now, this time Tua had a game leading drive before the Falcons followed drive to his credit because we got to give credit where credit's due. He has some nice throws, but he also has 2 picks and he's hot and cold. So the fact that they lost against Jacksonville, Atlanta, 2 winnable games, loses is another reason why you hear Dolphins and Watson very hardcore for the past week. The Jets versus Patriots. Jet crash. Zach Wilson got injured with a PCL injury. He'll be out for a couple weeks. To be honest, I feel like all he needs reps because he's been kind of abused this whole week and everything's been sucking. I think it's good he's actually out. The fact that they finally got a veteran, Joe Flacco, is good for him. Good for the Jets, but you know, the Jets are worse than we thought they were going to be. Let's put it that way. Carolina versus the New York Giants. Not Sam I am. Sam Darnold got benched now after losing 4 straight games now. Matt Rule says that he is still the starter going forward, maybe because PJ Walker is not a starting QB either, so he kind of has to have Sam Darnold starting going forward. But there's a reason why now you're hearing Carolina and Deshaun Watson rumors. Like basically, if he doesn't get traded to Miami, then Carolina is basically the next favorite along with Philly to get him. So there's a reason why you're hearing that. Besides Watson being from the Carolina area, it's because Panthers could use a quarterback like Deshaun Watson. Cincinnati versus Baltimore. Um, Chase, sorry, so Chase Chase pumps his fist. So Jamar Chase had a spectacular game. I forget, I think it was like 5 or 8 receptions for 201 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the him and Burrow connection is just super awesome. And now, surprisingly, as of right now, Bengals are the #1 overall seed in the NFL. If you had that at this point going to the season, then kudos to you. Philly versus Vegas, horrific. No Waller, Josh Jacobs leaves the game, but no problem for Derek Carr. He throws for 2 touchdowns, 323 yards, and get this, a 91% completion percentage. So, like I said, we don't doubt Carr. Raiders are still undefeated at home, by the way, and they're leading the AFC West. Detroit versus the Rams. Stafford, stick it to Detroit. First game for both, Goff and Stafford against their former teams. Stafford's the one to get the win, which is a shocker or not. If the Lions didn't go for the onside kicks and multiple fake punts, I feel like this wouldn't have been as close of a game. But props to them to trying something to find a winning game. But Stafford, he definitely left Detroit at the right time, and don't blame him. Houston versus Arizona. Who cares? We all knew that the result would be here. No need to discuss. Chicago versus Tampa. Brady had 4 on his mind. Since Brady got, consumed at what Dana was last year, in the Thursday night game last year against Chicago when he thought it was 4th down. He thought it was going to be 4th down, but it was already 4th down type of thing. I think he remembered that because he got his revenge by passing for, 4 touchdowns on Sunday. So don't make fun of the GOAT because he can still make you pay. And also he passed for his 600th career touchdown NFL record, so kudos to him. Indianapolis versus San Francisco. Wentz not actually wincing. Even though Wentz wasn't perfect per se, again, like he's been playing better, and then on the drive to kind of seal the deal, put them up by 2 possessions, he made that touchdown throw and made the necessary play. So kudos to Carson Wentz for playing better. New Orleans versus Seattle. Davis is a menace. So Demario Davis, linebacker for New Orleans, he was a monster in that game. He had multiple sacks, multiple tackles for loss, like I think around 10 tackles. Like he was just a beast in that game. Basically helped the Saints win that ugly game on Monday Night Football. Now, as a New Orleans fan, I'm concerned that game was close. I know you're at Seattle, but you're facing the backup quarterback. Even though Geno Smith's been playing somewhat well, he has backup. You're still playing backup quarterback. You made the Seahawks defense look awesome, which they're not. And then you had a bye week. You're coming off a bye week. That's the scary thing. Now, I know weather plays a factor and all that, but still, you should have won by more than 3 points. Okay, but now it's time to go over my top 5 college football takeaways from this past week. My takeaway number 1 is there's still not a lot of separation after Georgia. So since he struggled against a bad Navy team, same with OU against Kansas, Alabama, had to wait till the 4th quarter to finally put Tennessee away. And it makes it hard to determine, what teams 2 through 4 are. Luckily, this week we can actually get a little more clarity on that with all the big matchups ahead this weekend. But it's hard to predict. Takeaway number 2, I like the new overtime rule. So after 2 overtimes, it makes sense that neither team can get the win than just do 2-point conversions back and forth because that's the quickest way. Now, since neither team can make a 2-point conversion, it took 9 overtimes. That made it a little bit longer. But I've seen at least one triple overtime game this year, and again in triple overtime, one team got a 2-point conversion, one team didn't, so it was able to be over just like that. So this is kind of an anomaly. I feel like at least one team scored 2-point conversion. If not the 3rd overtime try, maybe the 4th or 5th, so it won't go that long as the Penn State Illinois game did. But again, I like that rule. It makes it actually very hard because there's only so many 2-point plays you have in your arsenal, so it makes things very interesting, especially when both defenses are really good. If I were the NFL, I would change the overtime rules. It doesn't have to be necessarily the exact same college football, but at least change it somewhat to where there's no ties, and at least both teams have a shot. Basically, those are the 2 main beefs I have with the NFL overtime rules. Takeaway number 3, once again, college football delivers. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, early in the week I said, okay, there's not a lot of good games on paper. Well, I was wrong because, Cincinnati struggled with Navy, like I said. He struggled with Kansas, like I said. And also, Penn State got upset by Illinois. NC State got upset by Miami. Early in the week, Coast Carolina got upset by App State, So there's plenty of upsets. There's still plenty of upsets going around, so that was pretty nice to see. Takeaway number 4. Some more college football realignment news came out within the G5 ranks this past week. Southern Miss to the Sun Belt is all but a done deal, apparently, and they could join in 2023. Marshall and Old Dominion now are trying to join as well. Rumors are that that's far along the process, but it should happen. So if that ends up happening, and then they're also going to add a FCS opponent, James Madison, but who cares about that? But this means that um, if this scenario happens, then that means that one of the scenarios I laid out, in my last podcast last week about conference realignment for Conference USA, it might be coming true because if Sunbelt and Marshall ultimately, then that means you'll have just 5 Conference USA teams left, and apparently you have to have at least 6 to be a conference. So either you have to, so like I said, you have to steal from independents, or what it probably will look like is um, you'll just have to you'll just have to give up as a conference. Just forfeit. Just don't become a conference anymore. If somebody wants to take anything else, they can, and you let the MAC have their options, and then whatever's left, they'll just be independents, like some other schools. Um, so and again, I'm fine with having a G4. It'd be weird not having a G5 conference anymore. Again, nothing's set in stone on that, but honestly, we don't need 5 G5 conferences to get along with just 4. But again, I love conference realignment. It is pretty interesting. And then last but not least, here's my new top 4. Again, one's obviously Georgia, but it was pretty hard to decide 2 for 4, like I said. And you can make a case for a bunch of different teams. And I literally just, kind of like, it's a thing where I didn't literally do this, but basically figured it out. I kind of just like, threw a dart and just, think about it, let's see, let's stick and be like, okay, sure, why not for right now? Because this will obviously change next week. So two, I have one loss, Alabama. I still feel like they're the second best team in the league as of right now. Third, I went ahead and have Michigan, because one, they're undefeated, but then two, besides the one close game against Nebraska, they've handled all their opponents, in dominant fashion. Which for typical Michigan teams, they played out of competition, so they've been playing pretty well. Even though they haven't really beaten anyone of significance, I'm still putting there. And obviously Michigan State beats them this week, and they'll flip flop. And then 4, I got Ohio State 6-1. Again, I know Oregon has the head-to-head against them, but I still feel like they're not a top 4. Even though they resume may say with that win they may be a top 4 team. I just don't feel like they're a top 4 team. So Ohio State, I'm putting it right now. But again, Ohio State, ever since I lost, Oregon has played a very weak schedule. So there's a reason why their offense looks legit. I mean, their offense was always supposed to be legit, but there's a reason why that's living up to the bill now, and also why the defense seems like they're improved because they haven't played anyone of noteworthy yet. So that's why I'm looking forward to the Penn State game this week. Because although it's a game at home where they should win, I mean, it could be a close game because Penn State is legit defense. So and it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens there. So that means I have like both Michigan State, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma all kind of right side looking in. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, chat about me. Keep in mind that throughout the week, remember that the NBA has already started, and it's been nice watching games so far. So if you're a basketball fan, go ahead and watch some of that. And I'll talk about more NBA topics at some point when I get a chance. Since during football season, that's going to be more of what I talk about soon. But anyways, thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. You all have a wonderful day.